Hello everyone, today let's compare two software models. The first, let's introduce waterfall model. Because of the cascade from one phase to another, this model is known as the waterfall model or software life cycle. The waterfall model is an example of a plan-driven process. In principle, at least, you plan and schedule all of the process activities before starting software development. The stages of the waterfall model directly reflect the fundamental software development activities. You can read the diagram on the slide. There are requirements definition, system and software design, implementation and unit testing, integration and system testing, and so on. So to give an example from real life, most schools use a waterfall model for teaching, which fully leverages the stability, phase-based approach, and large-scale nature of the waterfall model. In the construction industry, the waterfall model is ideal due to its linear approach. For example, when building a new office complex, the project manager gathers all requirements, architects create detailed designs, and construction follows a strict sequence. Each phase must be completed before the next begins, ensuring clarity and precision. Next, let's introduce the iterative and incremental models. Incremental development is based on the idea of developing an initial implementation, getting feedback from users and others, and evolving the software through survival versions until the required system has been developed. Specification, development, and validation activities are interleaved rather than separate, with rapid feedback across activities. You can see the diagram here. It begins from outline description and the development, specification, and validation. The three factors transfer to each other. And they also related to initial version, intermediate versions, and final versions. Here are another example from learning. When we eventually complete assignments, we unconsciously use the incremental model. Throughout the problem-solving process, we continuously receive quick feedback, and the muscles that are more effective and faster tend to replace the clumsier old muscles. Another example is game developers. It often uses iterative and incremental methods to refine gameplay mechanics. They might release a playable version of the game with core mechanics, gather player feedback, and then iteratively enhance the game by adding new levels, characters, and features based on player experience and suggestions. Okay, let's focus on the comparison of the two models. First, let me introduce the strengths of waterfall model. The first is clear structure and easy to understand. The waterfall model uses a clear and defined set of steps to follow, which is simple and ensures every project must go through the same sequence of events. Gathering requirements and documentation, system design, and so on. And for the same reason, it is also financially predictable. The third, it is good for projects with well-defined requirements. The following phase should not start until the previous phase has finished. And during the design, problems with requirements are identified. During coding, design problems are found, and so on. The fourth, reduce the risk of scope creep. And the weakness of waterfall model is obvious. Because of the inflexibility of hardware, it is not usually possible to delay decisions on the software's functionality until it is being implemented. And the second, critical systems where there is a need for extensively safety and security analysis of the software specification and design. In these systems, the specification and design documents must be complete so that this analysis is possible. The next, large software systems that are part of broad engineering systems developed by several partner companies. Where several companies are involved, complete specifications may be needed to allow for independent development of different subsystems. In a word, the waterfall model is not useful for informal team communication and rapidly changing software requirements. Let's talk about incremental models. The strength is that first, the cost of implementing requirements changes is reduced. The amount of analysis and documentation that has to be redone is significantly less than is required with the waterfall model. The next, customer involvement. It is easier to get customer feedback on the development work that has been done. Customers can comment on demonstrations of the software and see how much has been implemented. Customers find it difficult to judge progress from software design documents. And the weakness, system structure tends to degrade as new increments are added. Regular change leads to messy code as new functionality is added in whatever way is possible. It becomes increasingly difficult and costly to add new features to a system. To reduce structural degradation and general code messiness, Agile methods suggest that you should regularly refactor the software. And we need to make a decision to how to select the best method. I think there are three factors to think about. The first is changing and stable. Incremental software development, which is a fundamental part of agile development methods, is better than a waterfall approach for systems whose requirements are likely to change during the development process. This is the case for most business systems and software products. Incremental development reflects the way that we solve problems. We rarely work out a complete problem solution in advance, but move toward a solution in a series of steps. Backtracking when we realize that we have made a mistake. By developing the software incrementally, it is cheaper and easier to make changes in the software as it is being developed. The second factor is size. The problems of incremental development become particularly accurate for large, complex, long lifetime systems where different teams develop different parts of the system. Large systems need a stable framework or architecture, and the responsibilities of the different teams working on parts of the system need to be clearly defined with respect to that architecture. This has to be planned in advance rather than developed incrementally. In large aspect, waterfall model is better. The third factor is customers' involvement. The customer involvement with interactive and incremental model is higher. In summary, the choice of model needs to be analyzed based on specific issues, and decisions should be made comprehensively in various situations. Thank you very much.